everybody. Welcome to the WCBT's second press conference for the 2021 TPC at Sherwood. The second event on tour of the 2021-2022 season. We're going to introduce our media people. First up, we have Mr. Jeff Young.
What's going on?
Perfect. And then we have JB Rainsberger.
Good evening, folks.
Ms. Jen Baldwin.
Hi, everybody.
And Five Pin Universe's own Mr. Daryl Bradley.
Right. Wait for me till the end. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that'll be the order they'll be asking questions for the first guest. And we'll bring in our first guest here right away. Thanks very much, guys, for doing this. And hope you got those questions ready to fire. Our TPC at Sherwood representative, Mr. Tim Wiseman. Go ahead, fire away, Jeff Young.
Hey, Tim Wiseman, Jeff Young here. Really big fan.
Oh, I'm a big fan too. Thanks, man.
Oh, well, thanks, man. So with the success of the Autumn Open, I just want to ask what your expectations were for not only scores for TPC, but also number of entries, individual bowlers. What will you deem this event a success?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Jeff. I think it's just a success being able to host the event nowadays. We're super happy to have it after a couple of years. I think, honestly, the numbers from Calgary and how they ran it was phenomenal, and obviously it sets the bar high for us. And we're just looking forward to having a safe and good environment for everybody. And obviously our shifts are doing well, and our numbers are looking great. And we're just looking to have a good time for everybody.
Tim, J-Brains, not as big a fan, but you're all right.
Okay, no big deal.
Oh, come on. Building a little bit on Jeff's question. So obviously you've had this long break in between events at Sherwood. And on the one hand, you've had a lot of time to think about what you want to change. But on the other hand, it's hard to think about that when you have such a long layoff. So is there anything in particular that you wanted to do differently in preparation for this tournament, maybe compared to years past?
Differently. I can't speak for the committee. Maybe on a personal level, maybe a different Sunday format. Right? We have the same format as Regina, and I know Carrie would love to have a different format. But that being said, I think right now, like I said, we're just focused on running the event successfully and being able to host the event on a health-wise properly and safely. And to be honest with you, I think 3 months ago, it was still up in the air a little bit if we were going to host it. We just never knew with the way the numbers in Alberta was going. And to get where we are today, we're very happy.
Tim, also a big fan, obviously. I was going to start by asking who your favorite volunteer is, but we already all know the answer to that. So
Mark, yeah.
We are. My first question is, where are you going to be posting stats for the weekend?
We're going to be posting them on our Facebook page, TPC at Sherwood, and we're also going to be posting them on our website, tpcsherwood.com.
Perfect. That was an easy question, huh?
Very easy. Thank you.
Hey, Tim. Daryl Bradley here. How you doing, pal?
Are you a fan?
We didn't need to go there. Don't worry about that. We skipped over that part.
Okay.
Hey, can you chat a little bit just about what it means for Sherwood Bowl to be in the mix of these prestigious tournaments on the WCBT? Obviously, there's been some previous centers that have hosted it before you in the Edmonton area, dating back to Bonnie Doon, Rose Bowl, Collingwood, of course, TPC, and now Sherwood. Obviously, it's a pretty prestigious thing. And what does it mean for Sherwood Bowl to be hosting this year?
Huge. I can speak on behalf of obviously my family, our staff, and I think all our bowlers that participate and volunteers. We take a lot of pride in the event, and I think in a way, we like to have a little bit of bragging rights as well with it, and we like to have the best of the best. And for us to be able to host something like this and give it to the best event to Western Canada or Canada in general, and to our local bowlers to come out and view some great bowlers. We're very happy to do that.
Hey Tim, I just wanted to ask you for anyone traveling from across the country who's interested in maybe not only bowling in TPC but any of the WCBT tournaments. What advice would you give them, maybe planning wise, or who to contact, just so that they can kind of have a branch extended to them to find that avenue?
Contact wise, I mean, any of the local or any of the committees out there, Regina, Calgary, Edmonton, Red Deer are very great to talk to. Obviously, the WCBT is a great avenue to reach to. I mean, they can also give you the right direction on that as well. We're fortunate nowadays. I think there's a lot of open communication and a lot of help when it comes to a lot of people coming out to these events. My suggestion is when you come out to these events, I think we're past the point now when it comes to people hoteling it. A lot of people don't like to hotel, saving money, looking at saving costs. Airbnb is a cheaper route now. You're looking at maybe sharing a place with, hooking up with a buddy and maybe sharing a place at a local person's place to save some costs and whatnot. If you're coming out all this way to play an event, I don't think one shift is enough. I always recommend playing 2 shifts now. I mean, the money's there now. Your cut money's instead of $200 we used to have in the past, now it's $400, right? And make sure you play the side pots. There's cash to be made on each side. You never know where you're going to throw your perfect game and win $9,500, right? Like Randy Main, right? You never know. And take it all in. If you're coming out for your first time to participate in these events, play all the events if you can. Play your doubles, play your bakers, play everything like that, and get out to meet all these people, because the community that we have out here is second to none, and it's great to build those connections.
So Tim, we talked a little bit about the prestige of the event, and how much you're looking forward to running the event after a long layoff, especially for, as Jeff points out, for people who maybe are thinking about coming from across the country, or who maybe haven't made it out to a WCBT event before. What do you think you and your organizing committee, the people who work with you on this event, what do you think you do really well that contributes to this event being a success?
Teamwork. I think we have a great amount of teamwork together. Not just that. I mean, it takes a lot of planning, and I know a lot of other committees out there with the rest of the WCBT. It doesn't just take one weekend or a few phone calls. It's a lot of planning, and we're super fortunate with that. I don't know. We're very fortunate that we in Edmonton and area, and even in the province, Alberta, we have such a great core amount of people that come out and support us and volunteer and help us. We have to thank those people more than anything, because I don't think the prestige of the event wouldn't be there if it wasn't for those people.
Yes, I think that was a great answer to that question, Tim. We are lucky to have who we have out here. One of the questions I was given actually to ask you is what are the current lane conditions like at Sherwood Bowl?
Well, right now we haven't oiled them yet. We'll oil them tomorrow morning. And I promise you they won't be as sloppy as it was maybe last WCBT. I will call out Mark Miller on that one. If it is, well, I mean, give me a hard time. But we're obviously the lanes we oil, and we won't be touching them after tomorrow morning. So the way they are, they're going to be drying out, and then obviously more movement will be happening on Sunday. And if any of you guys know about us at all, we actually cleaned some pins today. So first time all year, just for you guys. We cleaned up the whole area for you, just for you guys.
Well, that's nice to go and change everything completely as people have been playing on it for the last couple of months. So
Oh,
I'm sure people are looking forward to that. Good job, Tim.
Hey, it can't hurt your bowling by any means.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Hey. But on that note, there have been some really good scores out of Sherwood this year already.
Yeah.
Can you share some of those highlight scores or some of those local players that are playing in leagues, just to get people jacked up about how high scores are potentially going to be? Who's playing really well out of Sherwood Lanes?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, number one bowler in the country right now, or on the tour, is Dexter. Dex is playing second to none right now. He's averaging close to 290 or 285 on Sundays, and he plays half decent on Thursdays, but he has to play in front of Kerry, so it makes it tough. But then you have Schultz. Honestly, Schultz has been playing unbelievable on Thursdays. Schultz is I think he shot like 1,060 a couple Thursdays ago, and he was really dialed in. He's a guy, honestly, you guys really have to start looking at. Obviously, he's always been a name out there, but coming off of COVID, I think his back's in good shape, and I think he has everything sorted out, and he can be a real dynamite out there. So watch out for Schultz. Obviously, some other ones. Weber plays well. I think he found something last night. And when he finds something, you better watch out for Weber. Dark horse, I'll have to say one of my local kids out here. He shot a perfect game back in 2014, Jordan Schutz. Jordan Schutz, he went on practice and he shot 418 and a 1,050 triple. So Jordan can definitely play. He's a naturally gifted athlete there. And if you're looking at some ladies that are playing from our local center, obviously Katie Rayner, Jenna Lamoureux, and Heidi Mapstone, all three really solid players there.
All right. Is that all our questions, or do you guys have one last one here for Tim before we let him go?
I got one more there, Tim. For you.
I could go one more round
Yeah,
too.
my question is for you, Tim. Obviously, we've been chatting here on the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself, how are you feeling on your own game, your own expectations, your own thoughts going into the weekend here? Playing the TPC. Obviously, you had a great autumn open. Aside from Kerry on the 5PNU crew, the better than Dex and better than Weber. And so, how are you feeling about things going in yourself, buddy?
I actually feel pretty confident moving forward. I played obviously really well on Sunday. I'm actually excited to play. I'm really excited to play. Obviously, a little nervous to play. And I mean, if you aren't nervous, I don't think. I think you shouldn't be playing, because if you're not nervous, that means you don't care. In my personal opinion, right? So. Really excited about it. Really excited to play the Invitational tomorrow. I'm excited to play against Dwayne. It should be a great match. And then, I feel real confident with it. Honestly, probably more confident I've been in a long time. So, feel real good about it.
So, Tim, if you're that confident, then what's personal success for you for this event? Do you have a goal in mind, or are you just going to try to go as far as you can?
Everybody says, obviously, I want to win. I want to win, but for me personally, especially on the main event, I haven't made the cut in 2 years. There, I just want to make the cut. Obviously, the cut being a higher cut the last time we hosted, making the cut for me would be good, and then just getting to the match play where anything can happen, and I think I can play very well during the match play this year. So, I think that's where that's my focus right now. I don't like to aim at the high totals. I don't want to think about 2,200 or 2,150. I just want to execute my game each and every game.
Well, good luck and stay excited.
Thanks, buddy.
So then what do you say, like, with your confidence, is there a challenge of being one of the hosting committee members and bowling at the same time? And then on that, you were mentioning numbers. What is your projection for a cut? Personal projection.
I still think it'd be around the 2,200. I think so, or 20. I say 20. I said 2,200 on podcast, so I have to keep that number, even though I think even though I think it could be lower now with the amount of people. But scores have been really good this week. I think it's a huge challenge. I think it's a huge challenge for anybody that's part of the committee, and Carrie can attest or anything like that, working or volunteering and running back and forth. But that being said, I'm super fortunate to have some really good staff and some good volunteers. And I have to say, like, if you guys don't know who he is, you guys are going to meet Chris this weekend. And Chris is a rock solid staff member for us. And if it wasn't for Chris, I think we'd be a little bit more paranoid about running the weekend. He's super good about that. So for us, we kind of grew up and lived through this before. So if anything, it's kind of helped our mental game over the years. So I think we're going to be okay.
Well, perfect. Thank you very much, Tim, for being a part of this, and we wish you all the best of luck at the tournament and running a successful one.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, so our next guest will bring at 6:50. Thanks. The WCBT's latest tour champion 2020, Mr. Greg DeGrazia from Thunder Bay. JB, you have the floor.
Hi, Greg. Welcome. And I'd really like to know, as tour champ, how does that factor into how you think about coming into this event?
Well, being the, I guess, reigning tour champion, try not to put too much extra pressure on myself. Just want to come in and bowl as best I can. The Autumn Open, it went okay. Didn't go great. I didn't really love my shot, so I'm hoping that this tournament goes a little better. I feel like I have a lot more confidence now, just with the last 3.5 weeks that passed, getting out and shooting some more. So, yeah.
Hi, Greg. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. My question for you is, do you play any different at specific houses, example, Sherwood Bowl, knowing that you have been successful there in the past?
Honestly, I have a pretty simple style. I kind of just do the same thing pretty much everywhere I go. My shot and my style usually works at most places. If it doesn't, I usually just make some minor adjustments. But usually, I just tend to play the same everywhere I go. I usually just use one set of balls. I don't really do too many adjustments, and it's usually works out not too bad for me.
Hey, Greg, Daryl Bradley here.
Hey, Daryl.
Just, strategy. Tomorrow you're going to play the first shift, and then tomorrow night you've got the invitational, potentially signed up for a couple more. I guess what's the strategy going in from a tournament? You got in here early today. I saw you at the lanes. You're throwing some balls. Just talk about your overall strategy for a big event like this.
Well, tomorrow, hopefully I'm going to start, strong, hopefully have a good shift. I think that's really going to set the tone for the invitational. I went back and forth whether I was going to play tomorrow morning or wait till Friday, depending, because, if you go in there tomorrow morning and have, a rough 8 games, it's going to kind of be a little more stressful coming into, play $1,000 event with the high stakes. But I'm hoping that tomorrow goes well. I can shoot a good enough score that I'm comfortable to sit on, and that kind of gives me some confidence going into the invitational.
Hey, Greg, Jeff Young here. Coming from Thunder Bay, and I mean, you literally bowl everything, and I would assume that with that comes quite a bit of traveling and planning. What gets you motivated to, hop on a plane continuously, fly to a club tour or Timmins or WCBT? And has any of that changed since our layoff? Has there been a fire burning even more? Is it hard to kind of get going?
I would say it's definitely like the people. The most exciting thing is to come and see everyone that I only see a few times a year. That's definitely the biggest motivating factor. It is a lot of planning to come to all these events. Like I play pretty much everything. I'm not as fortunate to just, live and drive a couple hours to each of these events. I have to actually plan and book my flights and book time off work and book hotels and find people to travel with. Cause I can't really go by myself and just spring for a hotel, just, all on my own. I mean, that just makes this event really pricey. But yeah, the people for sure. Since the hiatus, I just feel like I'm even more wanting to get back out into it. The Autumn Open was great. It was great seeing everyone. Some semblance of normal was nice. I just feel like I'm just really happy to be back in it and ready to compete.
So, Greg, apart from the motivation side of things, what have you noticed any difference in how you prepare, whether physically or mentally, for these events? Has anything changed with the layoff, or have you kind of felt like, as you mentioned earlier, wanting to get back to normal? Has your preparation pretty much been now what you've been used to, or has anything changed for you?
Well, going to the Autumn Open, my body was definitely not used to bowling that many games. I haven't been able to get out practice as much in the last year. There hasn't really been too many events going on, so not that much motivation to get out on the lanes and compete. The Autumn Open really was an eye opener that I can't just not prepare and think that I'm going to do well. Like, I ended up okay, but throughout the whole tournament, I didn't feel good. Like, my shot didn't feel good. My balance was off. My leg was sore. My fingers were ready to pop. I had blisters. Just over the last 3.5 weeks, I've been just trying to get out more. I finally feel like I have some calluses on my fingers again, so that definitely helps. I even just started like stretching more and doing some things to kind of like build up my energy and stamina for this event coming up.
Along those same lines, Greg, is there a rhyme or reason why you decide which shifts to bowl?
No, not really. If I'm traveling all this way and I'm paying this money, I'm gonna bowl them all if I have to.
Right.
I don't come here to just sit around. Like if I'm here, I'm gonna bowl everything and anything because that's why I'm here.
Right.
Greg, what does a successful weekend look like for you? Obviously, you know, the first shift tomorrow, again, the doubles event Friday night, the invitational. At the end of the weekend, when you look back at this, what do you declare a successful weekend?
Well, of course I want to do well, but for me to have a successful weekend, I just want to enjoy myself. Reconnect with people that I haven't seen in a while. Just at the end of the weekend, just I can say that I had a good time and enjoyed myself. Success on the lanes, obviously making the cut. It's definitely getting harder and harder to make the cut these days. I mean, everyone's just phenomenal. The entries are going way up. There's a lot more competition. I remember, I think my first cash tournament I ever went to, I think I was 13 years old. I went to the Manitoba Open, and there was, I don't know, 80 or 90 entries, and like maybe 80 made the cut. And now it's like you got to shoot 2,200, and that's really not an easy task. So I think just making the cut is, great. I'd love to go deep. I'd love to win, but as long as I can say at the end of the weekend I had a good time, I think that's a successful weekend.
Greg, with having a pretty extensive bowling resume already, maybe not in the short term, but what sort of I guess future goals are going to make Greg DeGrazia satisfied as a competitive bowler?
I don't think I'll ever be satisfied because I just want to keep going. I just want to keep competing. Like, everyone talks about building a resume. I don't really look at that. Of course, I love to get the wins, but I just want to be able to keep competing as much as I can for as long as I can. I mean, it definitely feels great to do well in a tournament and add to your resume. But, I just want to be able to keep coming to these tournaments and do the best I can. One goal is I would like to get into Masters. I don't normally play Masters. It's a little difficult in Northern Ontario. Just the way they run qualifying, it's just with our big geographical area, it's just kind of difficult. So I'm hoping that maybe that'll change down the road and I can get involved in that. But yeah, I just want to keep competing for as long as I can.
Sorry about that. Well, perfect. Thanks, Greg. We will bring in our next guest here shortly, and we'll see you out on the lanes tomorrow, and good luck.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Greg.
Here we go. Dexter Wiseman, the 2020 Player of the Year. Was that a little startling? Did you not know we started right at 7 o'clock for you?
No, it's not that. It's just that it's always just like straight to your big face, and I'm not used to that. I was like, holy shit, that's me.
Jen Baldwin, you're up first.
Hey, Dex.
Hey.
So I have a few questions for you. The first one being what is your favorite part of this TPC event and why?
Absolutely seeing everybody. That's always the best thing about bowling, period, is just seeing all your friends come to one place. I'm very proud of the event and that's a big part of it too. It's grown significantly, largely due to like WCBT and all those things as well. But I'm very proud of the TPC and the tournament that it's become, and continually having to add shifts and events to it to make it a bigger and bigger event. So my favorite part is, having the people come and, experiencing what the TPC has become.
Hey Dex, love to get into the mental side of the game for yourself. Do you get to a point where you just have expectations and knowledge that you're going to make the cut? It's just an automatic, or are you still living in a world of I hope to and I want to? You've obviously made a number of cuts and gone deep in tournaments. So is there a transition somewhere that happened over the years in the mindset to now an expectations? It just becomes automatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of. It's definitely different now than it was. I mean, back when we first started doing the cash tournaments, you're right. It was a hope to make the cut. It has certainly become an expectation, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's definitely become an expectation to make the cut. There's certainly a comfort level in the fact that, in the last 3, 4, 5 years, I've averaged, 275 in league. So there's definitely a comfort factor going to tournaments knowing that, hey, you know what, you shoot average, you're probably going to make the cut. So that's definitely changed my thought process when going into it. It's a lot less pressure and more just focus on execution and your shot than it is really worrying about where you're going to end up in the cut, because you play your game, you're going to make it.
Hey, Dexter, Jeff Young here. Huge fan of your brothers. I just wanted to ask, so we've heard that you've been bowling very well, and some in your family are clamoring about your potential at this tournament. Just want to know what you've been doing, since the last event in preparation of this tournament.
I mean, no different than most other tournaments, really. I actually threw a couple games yesterday for the first time, and that was just so that Kelsey could throw some balls and have somebody to play with too. But outside of that, I've just been doing my league, and my 2 leagues, my Thursday night league and my Sunday night league, and just doing the 5-pin U stuff really makes a big difference. Just keeps your mind mentally engaged into the game all the time. Doing the interviews and speaking about the game really keeps you sharp, which is odd thing to say, but it is true.
Hi, Dexter, JB. Big fan. So, yeah, about that, you mentioned about how your peripheral might not be the right word, but peripheral involvement in the media side of things maybe helps you stay a bit sharp. Coming off Player of the Year, sort of riding this wave of success, do you start to feel a little bit like maybe you're trying to hold on to this success, and that do you have any worry that suddenly it's going to go away at some point, maybe years from now? Do you notice yourself sort of trying to cling to keeping your status, or are you able to put that out of your mind?
Yeah, not really. I'm hoping I'm at an age where success will, follow me for a number of years yet. Maybe not to the degree it's at the moment, but I'm hoping that to have success for at least another 10, 15 years.
So you still feel the invincibility of youth?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the youth of bowling. I mean, it's a game that you can play until you're 80, and we have some 70-year-olds coming out to the TPC. So I guess in the scope of the bowling world, we are still definitely on the youthful side. So no, I don't really think too much of it. I mean, obviously the number 1 ranking does have some impact, but it's more of just a friendly competition between me and Weber, and some of the tit cats and stuff. It's just something else to push each other, but I definitely don't feel the pressure of trying to keep that ranking. That's my turkey dinner waiting for me.
You better bring me a plate of that for tomorrow. But being the one that actually does most of the maintaining of the lanes, would you agree with the comments your brother made about the current conditions at Sherwood Bowl?
I didn't hear the comments.
You're not even watching it. I'm disappointed in you.
I was preparing turkey dinner, but yes, I agree with everything you said. I'll be honest, the machines have been a challenge over the last month. There's been a lot of work involved. There's been a lot of really weird anomalies. But the good news is we've rectified them. It's been a lot of work, but we've gotten there. We'll do our oiling tomorrow like we normally do. And then we'll let that oil sit for the weekend, and it will start to dry out over the week. But usually when it starts to dry out a little bit, the pinfall starts going up too. So expect some huge scores on Sunday.
Dexter, for yourself, what bowling balls and what line do you envision when you start thinking about yourself throwing shots? Where do you feel like you're going to start off playing, and what bowling balls will you be using?
So I'll be playing the far right to start for sure. That's kind of been my home base for the most part, unless something goes south. I will move around to the middle or to the left if I have to, but for the most part, I've been playing far right. I'll be starting with my Cyclones. They're pretty small. They're 4 7/8, 3/6. If those aren't working so good, then I'll end up switching to Comanches and old duck pinballs. Orange, hard as hell. But they're 4 7/8, 3/7. I've been throwing a lot of the lighter balls lately just to get a little bit more deflection, and it seems to be helping.
And I guess that'll be the end of the questions for Dexter.
Oh, actually, I got one more. I got one more.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So what would you say is going to be the mechanical key for you to perform well in this event? What mechanical thing are you going to be paying attention to?
To start with, I mean, obviously it changes based on how things are going, but to start with, small movements in my shoulders in the first couple of steps tend to force me to put the ball down and not be able to get over my shot the way I'd like to. I don't want to sit there and focus on being over my shot. So to rectify that, I really focus on keeping my shoulders square in the first two, which allows me to get over my shot naturally and have the arm come through naturally smooth. So that'll be my focus for the first couple of games. As long as things are going well, then I'll stick for the rest of it. But yeah.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Do you also have a cut projection for us, Dex?
2,200. I was surprised. I did hear Tim make that comment at 2,200.
Yeah.
And normally Tim undercuts it by a mile. But no, I think 2,200 will be the cut. It was the cut last time. We should have similar pinfall and similar entries. So I would bank on 2,200 being the cut.
He did say he thought it was going to be lower, but kept it at 2,200 because it's what he said in podcasts. So
I think 22 is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the turkey dinner you're about to have?
Ooh, probably, turkey, the stuffing, and the gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that we're all salivating, Dexter, go have your turkey dinner, and we'll see you out on the lanes, and best of luck running it and doing all that.
Thanks. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
We have the 2019 Masters Men's Tournament Singles Gold Medalist, Cody Laycock, originally from Toronto, now living out at Oakville. I do believe Daryl has the floor for Cody.
I do, you betcha. Cody, good to see you. Welcome to the show, and I know we didn't see you here at the Autumn Open, but I guess my question is, what sort of a statement are you looking to make coming into the TPC? Are you looking to come in guns a-blazing, you're going to start to play the shift Friday morning, bombs away, or are we looking to sort of get used to it, feed in, throw some warm-up balls? What's the first impression look like for Cody coming into this weekend?
I mean,
the plan is to always make it first shift, but it's a goal everybody has, and it's not always the way it works. It's my first time at TPC, and I hear it's a really good scoring house, but you never know what to expect on any given day. So just go with the flow, see what happens, and hopefully the pins will fall my way, and I don't have to play too many games before the cut and play down. So that's the plan, and we'll see how it goes.
Hey, Cody. Jeff Young here, huge fan. Just wanted to ask you, since we've had kind of a layoff this last little while, where's your game at? Have you been putting a lot of work in on the lanes? You just kind of going with the flow and doing your thing, or where are you at? I guess physically and mentally right now going to this tournament.
Yeah, I wish I could say I was feeling really good, but it's been a rough start to the year for me personally. I haven't played that many games. I'm playing 2 leagues this year for the first time in my life, so that's a bit different. But I went out last weekend with my girlfriend, Krista, to practice, and we played 5 games. And I think midway through the 4th game, I was pretty sore and tired. So we'll see how this weekend goes. 8 games is a lot. Should be okay, and hopefully things go well.
Hi, Cody. JB Rainsberger. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, man.
So you have a pretty intense style. You're pretty demonstrative out there. How do you regulate that for yourself? How do you know when you're just right at the level of intensity you want to be, and then maybe going a bit past it?
Good question. I try and focus and not wander off too much and socialize as much as I probably should, because there's so many awesome people out there. But I don't know. I try and just play my game, and I don't get too animated. That's the one thing I don't like to do. I don't like to get, the claps and the running out the shots and stuff like that. I like to stay kind of an even keel. I find that's the best way to go, and it just kind of, keep that same level, and hopefully ride the wave and just, stay at that one pace and get going. Yeah.
It's funny because it looks like the slow burn from my perspective and watching it. Looks like that's what's going on inside you. Do I totally have that wrong?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not as intense as I look. I guess I just try and focus. That's all.
Thanks.
Hi, Cody. Jen here. Big fan of your girlfriend, Krista, actually. I don't know a lot about you myself, you're from Ontario. Have you competed in many of the club tour events that way? And what would you do to prepare for TPC as well?
Yeah, I play all the there's two club tours a year that we have here, and I play both of them. I played them since I was in YBC. They've recently changed to a similar format where you play 8 games, and then it's a 3-game match play now. It used to be 2, so I like that a lot. I love the 3-game match play. I haven't done much preparing for this one, unfortunately. I wish I had bowled a little more, so I'm not too sore or whatever. But just hopefully get rolling and just go with the flow, and that's let the bowling just do the work.
Cody, question, what past experience will you draw on then as you get things going? Obviously, Carey introed you as the 2019 Masters Tournament single gold. So is that something that you're going to go back to and say, okay, get into the zone here? Or are there other events that you've played in that you can draw on while you're playing this weekend? Oh, yeah,
we have quite a few events in Ontario. We go up to Timmins and play there. It's basically a club tour / WCBT event. And we have our 2 club tours, and we have the Ontario Invitational. We have a lot of good tournaments here. So it's there's a lot of good bowlers everywhere. So the experience is all pretty much the same. You just go play your game. Hopefully you're on. Make an adjustment if you have to, and yeah, it's a grind, but just make adjustments and hopefully you're on your game.
Cody, I've witnessed you go on some pretty good runs in tournaments, and sometimes you actually look unstoppable. I'm just curious to know what kind of goes through your mind when you're kind of really feeling it, and what do you think really works in your favor when you're kind of in the right state?
I feel like you show up to a tournament relaxed and not focus as much about winning and trying to be perfect, and you just show up and have fun and maybe have a pop or two, and your body just settles into it, and you kind of just like it just takes over. You want to be consistent. Every shot you want to do the same thing. You want to throw the same ball, and it's just about being relaxed and being calm and not being tense, and just the ball just rolls off the hand a lot better. And that's the biggest key to bowling. It's just the repetition, being consistent, the same shot over and over and over. And that's all you can ask for, really.
So then on that note, is there something, a habit you have, something you do that creeps in every so often that kind of makes you go, no, I need to get back to what I was doing? Is there sort of a thing that tends to happen to you that maybe throws you off a little bit from time to time?
Yeah, I think I kind of go through a little routine in my head before I go up on the approach. It's mostly just the basics. Keep your feet slow, stay up tall, square to the line, and make sure you follow through. It's pretty basic, but if one of those things are off, then your whole shot can be off, right? So it's just stay slow, get your timing down, get to the line square, and make sure you follow through, and then it should be pretty decent after that, really.
Well, and I hope you're feeling that on every shot. Good luck.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Cody, same question I asked Dexter, and I'm kind of curious for all of our guests here tonight, is from a technical component. What type of bowling shoes are you even wearing? What sliders do you normally wear? And what type of bowling balls are you using? And further, what line is a perfect line for Cody? If you can settle in and start throwing a perfect shot, where does that come from? And what is it all comprised of?
So I just bought the new the 9s, I think they are. The SST 9s, I think. And I actually bought them too big, so I've kind of been working with them. I went back and forth my old shoes and those shoes the first couple of weeks of bowling, and I've kind of settled into them a bit. I'm comfortable now. I have soft rolls. I think I don't know the technical, the biggest ones. I think whether they 5 pounds or 5 inches or whatever they are. I only have one set of balls. That's all I use. I don't really believe in changing balls too much. That's an old school theory. I don't know, but it's just more about if it's not working, it's more about me, I feel. It's not the ball so much. So I'll move myself, I'll move my feet a little bit, or I'll move my mark a little bit. And I pretty much up the middle. Play a little bit of right to left cut, mostly end over end. And if stuff's not working, it's too tight, a little bit of too many picks in that, I'll kick it left. I don't tend to go right. I'll go left a couple boards with my feet as far as a dot over, and I'll still play up the middle just with a little more angle.
Well done answering my 3 questions all rolled into one.
Yeah,
So
good
job. Best of luck to you this
Thanks,
weekend.
man.
Looking forward to seeing you out here.
Appreciate it, man.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Cody, for joining us, and welcome out to the West when you get here, and we'll see you out on the lanes.
Thanks, Gary.
All right, we'll bring in our next guest and in a minute. right. We now have Heidi Mapstone, been a part of the Edmonton scene for a very long time, one of the best ladies around the region, and if not in Alberta, and has finished as high as runner-up on the WCBT at the Heritage Traditional. I think we're back at the top of the order.
Hi, Heidi. Just wanted to know, with a lot of success with the women getting on the WCBT tour, and you've been out bowling for some years now and competing against the guys. Can you touch on how you feel, being, partly responsible, maybe kind of paving the way for some other women to realize that, hey, we can compete against these guys and take their money?
Take their money. Well, we'll see about that. Honestly, I haven't really thought about myself paving the way for others. I see people like Diane Violini and Tracy Smith and Jen Smith, and they've kind of inspired me to do my own thing. And to be quite honest, I don't always have a lot of confidence in my abilities, but moving up to Edmonton and competing with all these top players has really helped my game. And every time I compete, I kind of surprise myself and, kick it up a notch. And that encourages me to compete the next time. So I don't know, maybe when my career is done, I can look back and be proud of what I accomplished. And if I can encourage some other ladies along the way, that's awesome.
Hello, Heidi. It's JB Rainsberger here. So since you mentioned confidence, I'm curious if you feel like you haven't always had as much confidence as maybe you wanted to have, or if you have been sort of sensitive to your relationship to confidence. Is there something that you've tried to do apart from having good results? Is there something that you've tried to do in order to feel more confident, in order to develop your confidence as a competitor?
Generally, I take it ball by ball, and if I can pick up, if I'm not doing what I feel is my best, then I try and pick out one or two things, and if I can slowly make improvements upon that foundation, then that helps build my confidence. So it could be as simple as making sure that I'm following through, and if I'm hitting my spot, then what's the result, and if I need to make minor adjustments on that, then I do that and I build from there.
Thank you.
Hi, Heidi. I was wondering if the Pro League has helped you get excited to compete after such a long break with COVID.
Yeah, coming and bowling that first week of Pro League was a lot of fun. Just having a team around me and being excited about bowling was a lot of fun. It reminded me what it was all about, and I guess team bowling is probably my preference over bowling as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Heidi, DB here, my turn. Super happy that you're playing this weekend. Super happy that you're playing in the Invitational tomorrow night. You have been playing great this year. Obviously, Masters had a couple of great tournaments. Bowling Sunday night, the league play. We've heard enough about Sunday night, how good that league is. But my question is, what's driving you and what's motivating you to continue to compete? To do as good as you can, to play in the leagues, to play in the pro teams, to play in the opens, to play in the Masters. What keeps you going? What's the driving factor?
I think mostly it's just seeing how far I can push myself. Every time I go to another tournament, I learn something new. I learn about a new accomplishment, and now with the people being inducted into the Hall of Fame, that's another driver. So, what accolades do I need to make to kind of meet that and be inducted myself is a big one. I think winning a singles title is probably got to be in there, but the other side of it is my kids. My kids are bowling, and I'd like to look back a long time from now, after I retire, and know that I encouraged my kids to bowl competitively. I've learned a lot about bowling and myself, and had a lot of good times. So hopefully they can have those same experiences.
Speaking of good times, what would you say needs to happen this weekend for you to deem your weekend a success?
I'd like to go deep in the ladies invitational, and I'd like to make the cut. My goal is to make 2,200. I haven't done it yet, but maybe this weekend.
So Heidi, you said earlier that you have a greater fondness for team play than for individual play. Is there something that you try to do, especially mentally, when you're competing as an individual, that allows you to maybe have a little bit of that feeling or tap into what you normally feel or get from a team environment that sort of helps you when you're competing individually?
Yeah, I didn't really for a long time. I generally, when I was competing or when I'm competing as an individual, I try to block out a lot of the external things that are going on. It just distracts me too much and it overwhelms me. So, but the last few tournaments, I try and pick out one person that I'm bowling with and encourage them like I would a team member. And then hopefully they reciprocate, and it kind of helps get that feeling going.
Well, then I hope you find your teammate in your first shift, and I hope it goes well.
Thank you.
Heidi, I've got the last question here for you. What advice do you have for other women that are on the fence maybe about bowling, cash tournaments, or joining the WCBT? What kind of advice do you have to encourage them to come out and give it a try?
Until I started playing, like I think the first cash tournament I played was out in Regina, and I really didn't have any hope of, I didn't think I could make a cut, but I did. And, that taught me that I can do it. I do have the ability to bowl well. I think as ladies growing up, we're not encouraged as much to be competitive as compared to a guy. So it's just not really part of our mindset. And I am competitive, and I've been trying to embrace that, and we'll see if that does me well this weekend.
Awesome.
And sorry, Jen, I've got one last one just because I want to make the comment. Is that an original Starry Night in behind there, or is that your own replica version?
That's a paint by number that I got from last Christmas. So that was my COVID project when I was laid off from work.
Nice work. Well, Heidi, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. You deserve all the success. Good luck tomorrow night, and we'll see you out there.
Thank you all. Thanks for your support, and best of luck to everyone else.
Perfect, Heidi. Thanks for joining in. We have Bradley Tiggett, WCBT inaugural winner, champion, player of the year, whatever you want to call it. There was no tour championship at that time. Thank you for being part of this press conference, and we got JB on the clock here for you.
Bradley, so we love watching your demonstrative style. You wear your emotions on your sleeve. It's fun to watch. And I'm curious, how do you stop yourself from kind of going a little bit past intense to being a distraction for yourself?
I don't know really how to phrase that in the best sense of the words, because for me, I never really feel like I've gone almost too far. For me, I've always thought if I play at 100%, that means I've got nothing left to give it. So I can't blame myself if I come up short, and that comes out in emotion in me as well. So I don't like, that's all knee-jerk reaction. It's not me trying to make a show on the lanes. It's pure emotion and drive into whatever I'm doing at that time.
So you've never had the experience of thinking of yourself as distracting yourself. It's just always whatever happens. Feels good.
No, pretty much. The only time I could think of anything would be playing Masters Nationals in Quebec. I ran out of strike and did the whole yell, my normal 2 bits. And then I felt everything kind of go dark. I'm like, maybe I'm a little bit too warm at the moment, but that was 33-degree weather and humidity that I'm not used to out this far west. So I don't know if that was the emotion per se or the environment.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Hi, Brad. Jen here. Carrie kind of stumbled over how to describe your title from 2016. And you and I have had this conversation, but does it light a fire for you to have a title under your belt with the newer format since we changed it?
Totally. That's the big knock. Like it didn't really bother me until the next year when I saw they had the Tour Championship trophy. I was like, that's awkward to say. I've got a name on a trophy that I've never even touched or saw until the year after I'd won.
Yeah.
So for me, it definitely reignited everything. Not that it wasn't necessarily there to start with, but to prove that I could do it under any format, not just have hey, look, I had a great year. I finished first. And the Tour, I finished first at tournaments. I competed and went deep in all the ones I tried. So definitely has been a driving force since then, and especially with Ty winning one since too, to try and get my name back on there.
Hey Bradley, DB here. Love watching your game. You know, the fire, you can clearly see it's there. Getting yourself pumped up is really cool to watch and fun watching you throw strikes. My question is now, I see that you're into the Invitational tomorrow night. A quick change up. How exciting is that for you now to be front and center, getting after it first thing for the Invitational Thursday night?
I'm pretty pumped. I mean, after playing as well as I did in Calgary and then again at our Masters here in Alberta the week after, I know my game is at least close to where I want it to be. And then I get to play Dexter, which I mean, play him tons, and it's always a good match. So that enthuses me about it too.
Hey, Jeff Young here. Just wanted to kind of touch on being, as Carrie would say, the inaugural bowler champion of the world for WCBT, and watching, say, the WCBT flourishing over the years. What do you think has playing on a tour like WCBT done for your bowling career? Or how has it made your game better that you can apply to, say, Masters or the Open or something like that?
I would say the first year after I won the tour, I had to relearn a lot of things because I felt like it should just happen, and at 18 that definitely was not the case anymore. Had a good year and had to reteach myself a couple things. But since then, the biggest thing I've taken from it is not to be afraid of the moment. In YBC, I struggled a lot at provincials. I only made two, like for the caliber of bowler they always told me I was. I only made two YBC nationals before my last 3 years, where I had kind of figured out the mental side of the game a little bit better. I'd only made two nationals, so I was kind of getting afraid of the moment of like, can I actually compete? Can I win these tournaments? And then to have a year like I did when I was 17 taught me I could actually do it, and then learning how to interpret that into any bowling situation.
So Bradley, on that score, you're soon going to be entering the stage of your life where you can begin to accumulate real wisdom to help go along with your ability. Have you started to notice changes in your mental approach to the game that are the kinds of things that maybe you might attribute to just, not being a kid anymore?
To a degree, it's kind of twofold. First was I finally graduated university, so now I have the stress of working, going to school, trying to compete competitively, doing all of that, and getting like your initial adult life kind of put together out of the way, so I can kind of focus a little bit more where I pick and choose to, instead of having a list of 900 things in front of me I need to do. And then honestly, COVID was really good. I think my mental game, I'm not going to say I'm a reformed man. I still have my rage inside of me every once in a while, but I'm not as self-deprecating as I used to be. Like, it's a little bit of like, hey, quit being a dummy, go throw the ball properly, instead of, hey, you're a dummy, you don't deserve to be at this tournament, go do stupid things.
And can you point to anything that helped you sort of, apart from the break, did a light switch go on? Did you read something? Did some thought come to you at 4:00 in the morning? Like, when did you start to make that move from, hey, dummy, you don't deserve to be here, to, hey, dummy, you know what to do, now go do it?
Again, twofold. I read a lot of fiction, but one of the few nonfiction books I've read was the Mind Gym, I believe it's called. I forget the author's name.
Yeah.
And that was quite useful as like a imagery and prep work thing. And then I finally got to a point where I felt with bowling that I've proven to myself, hey, look, I need 1,000 for 3. I've done it. Now I can't even tell you how many times I've thrown 1,000 for 3. Go do it. You know you can. Instead of, hey, look, you need 1,000 for 3. It's statistically unlikely to happen. So go find $200 and do something better with yourself.
Hey Bradley, what defines a successful weekend for you? Where at the end of the weekend, when you look back, you made the cut, invitational, the doubles events, the side pots. What defines success for you this weekend?
First one would be to try and win my invitational match. I've played one time before at the TPC Invitational and did not play very well in the first round. So I'd like to at least play well and win that match. And then making a run. I'd like to come off the Autumn Open, played well there, have another good run here and see how that goes. I mean, traditionally TPC has been my most consistent house. So hopefully I can channel a little bit of that again and make another shot at it. I've been close a couple times. Be nice to get over the hump.
And technical question, what bowling balls are you using?
I'm going to start with a set of 4 and 15 16ths 310 soft rolls, and if things go sideways, it'll be 4 and 7/8 hard rolls.
So big and heavy to start.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much, Bradley, for joining us in the press conference, and good luck tomorrow in the Invitational, and good luck in the main event.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good weekend. See you there.
All right, we'll bring in our next guest at 7:40. We have Mr. Matt Schultz, 2014 TPC at Sherwood champion, has won a title as recently as Regina in 2018. Thanks for joining the press conference, and I do believe Jen has the floor.
Hi, Matt. How are you?
Good, yourself?
I'm good. As a person who is expecting a child, I figured a good question that you could share with a lot of people who also have children on the way or new children. What are the struggles you find with being a newer parent and balancing bowling with you and Danielle? for the weekend?
Hey, it's scheduling. 100%. It definitely plays a factor. For a lot of years, I've seen a lot of different players that I grew up mentoring and so on, kind of go through the same a little bit of a struggle trying to play competitively, and also have your significant other play competitively as well. It's just TBC and the tournaments lately have kind of given a little bit more advantage to that, because there's more shifts added now. So having those Thursday shifts definitely make a difference, to kind of schedule around kids and day home and all that kind of thing. So also it's not as bad for some of us because we're one big family with our bowling world, that if our kids do come to the lanes, there's some people that can help us, kind of do a little bit of child minding a little bit.
Hey, Matt, DB here. Nice looking trophy case in behind there with some shirts. Well done, representing. I don't think I know where some of those got made. My question to you is, Tim mentioned earlier that you're throwing the ball really good right now and definitely one to watch. What's happened recently? Where's the game at? What's the change? Obviously, you played Autumn Open. Don't think you made the cut. But what's happened since then, and why the big change and Tim, throwing your name out there to be one of the favorites for the weekend?
I've had some big struggles in the last couple of years that I'm slowly figuring out how to work around them a little bit when it comes to my game. I've had some medical issues in the past that are long term. So I have many issues like focusing. I have many issues with longevity of playing many games due to my back injury. So I've found a good balance of being able to consistently throw the shot right now by doing many adjustments, but a lot of things is just mental focus for me. It's just changing the mindset to know that I have to deal with what I got to deal with. I'm also going through a bunch of different rehab programs and stuff like that because I did have a stroke. The stroke affected my mental capacity of focusing, staying focused on a spot, doing all those kind of things. So I've learned to adapt through these programs. I've learned to adapt on the lanes, but I've also put some time in my bowling shoes on the lanes. I've actually been practicing with Daryl a little bit when we can here, and that's made a big change. I've been one to adapt my whole career, and this has definitely been a longer curve to kind of figure it out, but I think I got it dialed in.
I'm kind of going along with what you were just talking about there. Going into this weekend, what do you feel are some realistic goals or wants in order to deem this weekend a success for you?
For me, it would just be making the cut. I've struggled in the last few tournaments just due to the struggles I got in my personal life and my physical well-being. Where I've been playing, just in league and locally, I've been kind of back to my higher level. So my goal is to make the cut. After that, it's just to hopefully go on a nice run.
Hi, Matt. JB Rainsberger here. First, congratulations on dealing with those physical and mental struggles. I can imagine that it's been trying at times. I'm curious. Some people can react to those kinds of situations and give up. Obviously, you haven't. But some people can maybe find it in some ways a bit freeing that maybe when you lose focus for a moment or when something physical goes wrong on a shot, that you can kind of just say, well, that's kind of how things are for me right now. Have you found in readjusting to that you've been able to embrace that sort of, shit happens kind of way of thinking about it?
Yeah, it's a hard mental retrain of your brain to just accept what's happened, and what could be holding you back. You can't have those mental blocks in there. You got to always have the focus as I am going to do it. It was definitely something that was holding me back for about 2 years. Is I never had answers for why I wasn't able to compete. I didn't have the answers to, is my back going to be better? Am I going to get mental strength back? Am I going to be able to get my focus back? Honestly, within this last few months of my bowling kind of going to the next level, I literally just got deemed having long-term disability with my eyes. I'm wearing different glasses that I just got today, actually, that, take down the light sensitivity that I got. I have really high light sensitivity right now due to my strokes. So once I kind of got those answers from the doctor, that actually gave me that relief to kind of just say, okay, you know what? It is what it is. You got these disabilities, you got these things that you got to deal with, but you're no longer going to let them hold you back. You got the answers you needed. You know that it can't get worse, but it's not going to get better. Now let's just adapt to that and make everything from the first step forward in your life better, your bowling better, and keep moving forward.
Well, good luck. It sounds like constraints breed creativity, and it seems like you've really responded well.
So being someone that has played on the tour, pre-tour, for a very long time now, from a young age, what would you say to encourage more youth bowlers to come out and compete in the cash tournament circuit?
You have to surround yourself with people that you want to become. That's something I've learned in a little bit of the business side of things that I've kind of done over the last, 5 or 6 years. A simple thing to look at it. Do you want to be a millionaire? You can't surround yourself. You have to surround yourself with millionaires. Do you want to be a good bowler? You got to surround yourself and be mentored by those good bowlers. And I can say right from a get-go, I was mentored at the age of 14, even younger, 15 years old. I was mentored by people like Lynn Howell, Bruce Mortar, Gino Zebarth, Vince Chartier, Greg Gigliuk. I got to play with all those guys on Masters teams. Those guys elevated my game to the level that I'm at now. And the one thing I can honestly say is I can mentor people below me. I hope they reach out to me. I hope that I can do the exact same thing over again for them.
Matt, let's just end with the technical side of things too, because I know you're going to say something different than what everybody has here, but I just think it's interesting for the audience to know that there's no set formula, and not everybody's using the same bowling ball and bowling shoes, and you also make your own bowling shoes. So let's chat about your shoes, your bowling balls, and the line that you're looking to shoot this weekend.
Well, for me, it's I got custom-made shoes. I've always found that to be the best. I get more comfortability. I can't even say it. I get more comfort out of my own personal running shoes than I did ever out of some of the made bowling shoes out by Dexter and Brunswick and stuff like that. I'm able to customize them in a way that they don't wear out, and I found good success with them, and then also on a price level, they're just a lot more cost effective. On the side of equipment, I've done a lot of analyzing over the last couple of years and watched. I was a soft roll guy from the time that they came out, but recently just watching people on the tour, watching certain pin reactions, watching certain things that I pay attention to. My scores have elevated themselves in the last couple months, switching to star lines. So I'll be throwing a 4 7/8, 3/8 star line. I only throw one on a regular basis. I never have a second ball. My second ball is always a house ball generally. So at the same time, I'll be throwing a little bit of left pocket, playing on the left side.
Well, good stuff, man. Obviously, hope that you have a good weekend. And yes, we have practiced a little bit lately. It's obviously been a pleasure out there playing with you, chatting with you. Helped my game too. So wish you the best of luck this weekend, pal.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate having me on.
Perfect. Thanks, Maddie. Best of luck this weekend at the main event, and we'll see you out on lanes.
You bet.
All right, we'll bring our next guest in a minute. All right, we have the 2018 TPC Ladies Invitational Champion, Katie Rayner from the Edmonton region. She's been a part of the Edmonton Ladies teams in the Open for a very long time, and we're we're happy that she's joined us on this press conference. Daryl, I think you have the floor.
I am. I'm up first. Katie, how are you today?
Good, and you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Hey, I know that you're also part of the pro team. Carrie didn't mention that, part of the Dream Cushers, which is great to be the female on the representative on that team, Caitlin as well. But my question for you revolves around confidence. Are you feeling confident? You know, you've obviously won recent tournaments. You're playing really well in league. Definitely somebody to be looking out for. But yeah, how's your confidence feeling right now?
So my confidence is always something that is an ongoing battle for me, and something that I just am constantly working on and trying to just surround myself with people who build me up, which I have an amazing team on Thursday Night Bowling, and the Dream Crushers are, of course, really good with that. Obviously, that last Pro League tournament didn't go so well for me, so that kind of dampened my confidence a little bit going into TPC weekend. But I was out on the lane this week and throwing some practice shots, working with Jeremy, and Derek Gall came out and worked with me. And after that, I'm feeling a lot better about my shot. I'm feeling a lot more confident in what I have to do and just kind of trying to stay positive one shot at a time and focus on just using some positive self-talk to get me through each frame.
As a bowler that's in the Ladies Invitational and seeing so many great ladies bowlers now starting to kind of, you know, understand that you know, these tournaments are for them and that they can compete. Like, how does that make you feel? And maybe you can kind of describe, you know, what maybe you what your expectations were when you first started against, you know, what you found to be the truth.
Yeah, so going into any of these cash tournaments, I always felt like maybe it wasn't what I should be doing, what wasn't my place. I wasn't quite at the caliber. I think that Edmonton and Alberta and Canada, we have an amazing group of ladies, and that shows every time we have a cash tournament. The Ladies Invitational is no different. There's always a high caliber of competition, and it's anyone's game at any given time. So I think the biggest thing as a lady going in is to just know that, like, I can compete with the guys, and that knowing that there's so many other women behind me as well. I think one of the things that surprised me a lot was you kind of go into these competitions expecting that everybody there's your competition, and maybe they're not looking out for you or don't have your back or don't want the best for you. And that's something that really surprised me, especially with the ladies, is that everybody kind of does root for each other and is really supportive community. And we have just an amazing group that are always looking to build each other up and not push each other back down just for the sake of competition. So.
Hi, Katie. It's JB Rainsberger. First, I wish you all the best confidence that you can muster for this upcoming event. But thinking about the mechanical side of your game, is there something in particular that you have been working on recently or that you are paying special attention to as you go into this event?
Yeah, so one of the things that I was working on after last weekend was it felt almost right, but not quite there. So after practicing on the lanes, the big thing for me was just making sure that I'm getting out over my shot, getting out over my knee, really pushing and driving into that slide. And then the rest of the timing just kind of follows through with that. So as long as I'm keeping that timing and really just staying aggressive with my shot at the line, that seems to be what is showing the success with the pins.
All right, hope it goes well for you.
Thanks.
Hi, Katie. My question is, and we've been working, a couple people within the community, a small group of us have been working to get more women to join the tour as well as the cash tournaments. Do you have any advice for any women to encourage them to join and come over that or overcome that hump of nerves that holds them back?
Yeah, I would say just get out there. Like I said, the first few years when I was getting back into competitive bowling, a lot of people were saying, you should come play the cash tournaments, come play the cash tournaments. And I was really hesitant to come out. And then that first year that I actually started coming out to the cash tournaments, I ended up making 2 cuts. So if you're putting yourself out there and putting yourself on the lane, chances are it's going to happen. But you just have to put yourself out there. And if you're not on the lane, there's no chance of it happening. So.
Katie, is there some, obviously you've got some teams, guys that are supportive of you, the on your Thursday night league. Do they also drive you to compete against them? Is there some sort of small piece of you that just wants to kick their ass? You know what I mean? Like, or maybe not small piece, but a large
it's a really
piece
big
that,
piece. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like they drive you and they're buddies and they're doing this, but you really want to just beat them as well. Well, so what keeps driving you to compete at the highest level?
Yeah, so I have been fortunate growing up in Edmonton that the Wiseman boys have been in my wheelhouse since I was 13 years old. And beating them makes me happier than anything. So I'm always trying to use them to kind of push my game farther, using them as competition. Dexter and I have bets on Thursday night all the time of who can beat who more often. I tend to be a very competitive person just in my mindset. I think that I can do anything. So I like to prove that I can beat them whenever possible. So that definitely drives me to push my game further. And it frustrates me when I'm falling behind them because I like to keep up and I like to prove myself to them. So
I'm going to steal DB's usual question here. Just want to talk about equipment. What bowling balls are you planning to use this weekend? And let's talk about bowling shoes.
yeah, so it's kind of a mishmash of things. My bowling shoes, currently I have two different ones. So my sliding foot is one that I have from when I was like 15 years old. It's like an SST6. And then my other foot is like an SST9 from 10 years ago. And then my bowling balls, usually I play a set of star lines that are just standard size, but lately I've been throwing a little bit heavier ball. I'm not even sure what it is. It's really old, but it's a 4-inch and a little bit heavier. So that's what I think I'm going to start with. And hopefully if I'm aggressive with it, I should be able to control that.
So Katie, you mentioned a moment ago having this feeling of, I can do it, and I just want to show that I can do it. It seems that if you could bottle that up and sell it, you'd make a fortune. Where do you think that comes from? As someone who myself doesn't have that yet, where do you think that comes from for you?
Yeah, I just really hate losing. I really do. That would be the big thing. Like that feeling of winning and being successful, and even if it's not necessarily winning, but beating my own goals and making progress in my own game, that drives me to continue. Sometimes that confidence of I can do it is a lot easier when it's just for fun on Thursday Night League, and it's a lot harder to channel that in a high pressure tournament situation. So I'm always looking for opportunities to be able to channel that energy into a tournament situation. But it's just that drive to better my game and to better myself and to better and like get some of those accomplishments under my belt and set those goals and be able to meet them.
What do you say to somebody who thinks, like me, that, oh, it's unrealistic for me to be that confident. I couldn't possibly do that?
Honestly, something that's always stuck with me, Darren Rich from BC once told me, at this caliber of bowling, when you're coming out to cash tournaments and playing national tournaments, we're all the best on any given day. Anybody can be beaten on any day. So play like you're the best. That's what he told me is you're the best today. Go out and play it, show it. And so I try to channel that and like continue to tell myself I'm here for a reason. We're all playing cash tournaments. We're putting our money in because we have a reason to be here. And so channeling that energy of I'm the best and I'm going to go show it today is what I try to do.
I look forward to seeing you be the best then. Have fun.
Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Katie, for joining us. Best of luck tomorrow in the Invitational, and we'll see you out on lanes for the main event. All right, the latest champion on the WCBT from the Autumn Open, Carrie Schneider. Welcome.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. How y'all doing?
Great. Hey, Carrie. Jeff Young here. First, I want to formally thank you for filling my spot on emergency basis in that team tournament at Mountain Lanes.
Oh, you're welcome. We won that tournament.
Yeah. So my question for you is based on winning. having a win now under your belt, does that change your mindset going into this weekend? And if it does, what do you think you can take away from having that victory?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did not expect to have the success I had in the Autumn Open. To me, success was making the top 40, and really successful making the 16. So I think what it does is it just gives me a level of confidence. I hadn't made a cut in quite a while, and I feel just more confident. I don't really think my game is any better or worse than it would have been, other than confidence. Confidence is king in bowling, and it's hard to bowl when you're lacking confidence or what have you. But I've always had trouble when I'm facing adversity. If I start out slow, pressure and stress, that type of stuff, it can go bad for me quickly if I'm struggling early. So I think being able to keep a level head and just I was very fortunate in the Autumn Open to throw a big game in the second game, and that helped me build my confidence through that last tournament. But I do think that win will help me this weekend, but we'll see.
Hi, Carrie. It's JB. Nice to speak to you again.
Hey, JB.
So what is there something in particular that you are looking for, whether it's mechanical or mental? Is there something in particular that you're sort of keying in on as an element to your success for this weekend?
For sure, it's being mentally strong and pre-shot routine, staying within myself. Those are the key things that I've kind of been thinking about all week as I'm preparing mentally more for the tournament than anything. Had league Monday night and played pretty well. Scored pretty well for 3 games. Didn't play the greatest, but I was working on my pre-shot routine, and just staying mentally strong is what I need to focus on.
Well, good luck with that.
Hi, Carrie. Welcome. I am wondering if you plan on buying a WCBT membership at the TPC. I'm totally kidding. We know the answer. I will hunt you down. So I just came up with a question. You mentioned a pre-shot routine, and that's not talked about as often as I think it should. Someone from BC always mentioned it, Ron Sadness. Is there something that you do? What's your advice on a good pre-shot routine?
Yeah, it's important for me, and I've really never focused on that in the past too much, but I really had a pre-shot routine at the Autumn Open, and it was just being ready to be on the lane. So I guess throughout the Autumn Open, I typically, now that I'm so old, I don't sit down much while I bowl, almost not at all. So I just kind of walk and I pace and talk to other bowlers and checking things out. So that's what I'm doing between frames. And then when I am ready to get on the lane, I'm typically trying to grab my ball. I always, because I've been pacing and walking, what has ended up being my pre-shot routine is my sliding foot. I keep one foot on the mat and one foot, my sliding foot, I'm kind of sliding 3 or 4 times just to make sure I didn't step in anything. And it's just become my pre-shot routine that I just kind of grab my ball, slide my foot on the approach a few times, and then walk up and make my shot. But what I noticed a few times at the Autumn Open and even in league just this past Monday night, that if I don't kind of mentally focus for my shot and just don't think about it. I know there's lots of other bowlers that are just field bowlers, just get up and are really quick paced. For me, I need to be a little bit more systematic, and I think the pre-shot routine helps me.
Yeah.
Hey, Carrie, DB here. has your life changed since you won a big cash tournament or a big WCBT event? I can just picture that you've been on this roller coaster of media interviews and jet setting to all these talk shows that you've been doing and spreading the good word. But, has life just completely changed for you? And how do you keep that going without having a big drop off here for the TPC?
Well, doing Jay Leno and then Oprah, and I'm sure you all seen me on Ellen. Yeah, well, it's funny that you even say that. Like being invited to do the podcast with you guys after the win was fun, and then JB reached out to me to do an interview. We had a blast. We chatted, I think, a couple hours. So that was kind of fun. That's stuff that I just typically wouldn't do, and talking about you guys, bowling hasn't been a big part of my life over the last 20 years. I know there's many, I really for sure didn't take bowling seriously for 15 years. And even the last 5 years that I've been back, I haven't practiced and worked on my game other than a few little times. I've just bowled league once a week, and this success at the Autumn Open has really, now I visualized going and practicing to work on my game for this tournament. I never did that. I just did league on Monday nights. But I'm excited about bowling. I want to bowl more tournaments. I'm looking forward to bowling the Open, those type of things. Has life changed? Well, I don't know. I don't really think so. I've had a lot of really good things going on in my life for the last while, and it's pretty fun to be riding the wave.
So, Carrie, when we spoke, I was really struck by the gratitude that you were expressing for not just for the win, but for, your ability to compete and to be part of this big bowling community. How is that gratitude helping propel you forward into, competing in this event this weekend?
Yeah, I'm just so thankful where I'm at in my life. I shared in the WCBT podcast after the Autumn Open win, and then with you, JB. I was struggling with life for about 10 years with really significant addiction issues, and that really was running my life for years. I actually just celebrated November 1st, October 31st, 9 years clean from cocaine. I was in a really, really bad spot in my life, and my thankfulness for where I am in my life I think gratitude and thankfulness is good for anyone, but I must say I just am very grateful where I am, and to be competing in bowling again and to have a little bit of success. I'm still blown away because I haven't had success bowling. Like I think I shared with many of you, I bowled since I've kind of made my comeback to bowling. I bowled at least 6 money tournaments and never made any cuts. So, and I've got a pretty big winning percentage now for cuts I've made over the last few years. Just kidding, but it's just a place of gratitude that I'm at, and love being able to compete. I do remember the first Open I bowled, I think it was 2015 in Middlesex, Elgin in Ontario, London, St. Thomas area. I was fortunate enough to be singles, and we were bowling at Sherwood Bowl in Hamilton there, which was so fun. And I just remember before the singles started, I walked up and down the lanes because I was removed from bowling for so long. I was just so thankful to be bowling in that kind of environment against all these great players. And I still feel like that. And I've got it's funny, I'm with my buddy Kurt Huber right now. He's in the in the room with me, and we me and Kurt met in bowling when we were, I don't know, 13, 14, 15. I've got many good friends all over Canada that bowl. And I was removed from that. And so there's so many young bowlers. I don't even know their names. Like, I looked at the list that I'm bowling with tomorrow. Over half of the 30 names, I don't even know who they are. At one time, I knew 90% of the bowlers. So it's fun kind of meeting the new people and seeing the young kids like Marcello. He's on my team in league on Monday nights, and he asked me to play the 4-player. Marcello's 17 in Regina. So I said, that'll be so fun. And I remember bowling when I was the young kid, when I was 16, 17, starting to bowl the money tournaments and into my early 20s. And so I'm really excited to bowl the 4-player with Marcello in Regina. Those are things that really excite me now. And to see all the great youth and the young kids that are just so good at bowling, it's fun for me. So thankfulness and gratitude, I think, is pretty important.
I think it comes through, and it warms my heart to see it, and I'm glad to see that continue for you. And so good luck this weekend.
Thanks, you guys. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for inviting me on. See you tomorrow.
Before we let you go, Kerry, bowling balls and bowling shoes, what are you doing?
I have no idea. You guys always ask me this. I did find out where I bought my bowling shoes. My dad bought them online, or my mom bought them for my dad online. My dad doesn't bowl anymore, so he gave them to me. They're a size too big. I think they're Dexters. They're too wide. They have sliders on both foot. And I have my bowling balls. I know I have a pair of soft rolls that I never throw. And the ones I bowled, won the Autumn Open with, maybe they're Cyclones. They're green. I know that. 4 7/8, 3/8.
Perfect. That's as much information as we need. All right. Well, good luck this weekend.
Guy. Thanks, guys. See you all tomorrow.
All right.
See you.
Take care.
All right. And our last guest, our WCBT Vice President, Mr. Mark Johnstone, and fellow competitor. Thanks for joining us. Jen's other half, if people don't know. Not sure who's on the top of the list for this round, but take her away.
I think it's JB.
I think it might be. So, we were here not that long ago having a lot of these conversations about sort of what as a representative of the tour, what's your expectations for this weekend? What are you hoping to see happen?
Well, I'd like to see the membership increase. That's for sure. I think I don't have the number with me. It's 65, I think, was members around there. And I'd like to get over 100 this weekend if we could. So that's one of our goals, is we hit over 100 this weekend and then some. So that's one of my goals.
All right.
Obviously have a good event. I'm part of the TPC committee as well. Just as running a smooth event, making sure everything goes smoothly, the lanes are in great condition, everything goes well. Yeah, that's the main goal. And sell some more merch like I always do.
Hi from downstairs. My question for you is, I guess, well, it was going to be, what's your plans and hopes for the future of WCBT? You kind of answered that. Like, for future years, what are your thoughts on where we could go with it a little further?
Well, addition of Winnipeg throwing an event this year, so hopefully that goes well and it's well supported and stuff. Due to personal circumstances, I'm not sure yet, but I think adding more events is always a good thing. The more events, the better. I'd like to see, add 1 or 2 more events. That's my end goal. Have 6, 7 events on tour, a couple in Saskatchewan, obviously a few in Alberta, 1 in BC, 1 in Manitoba. Maybe eventually down the road have a countrywide tour for sure too. So that's things that I would like to see.
It's funny, Mark DB here. It's funny we've done this press conference here, and we're finally on to the last guest, and I think it's the first time somebody's taken a question out of mine, Jen. So good job on that. But that's exactly what I was going to say. Was Mark, like, think big picture. 5 years down the road, 1,000 members, 7 different tournaments. How big does this get? Are we getting into live streaming, which we always do, commentating? Sponsorship. Can you talk a little bit about some of that sponsorship that's recently come in, and potentially on how big this can get?
We got a bunch of new sponsors: AFA Forest Products, Sports Home Building Center, Lisa McKinnis Mortgage Broker. We got our Heartland Bull, A&B Express, Bradson Promotional Group, 5-Pin Universe is also sponsored too. So we got lots of new sponsors. Big picture, I want 10, 15 events. I want it Canada-wide. I don't want to have count 2, count 3. You play them all, you play none. Your points go towards your final total. I want big money, 20 grand at each event. Like, I want a sports network to pick us up, back up, TSN, Sportsnet, whoever that may be. That's a big picture stuff that beyond what I said earlier. Yeah.
I'm kind of taking that a step further, and having marketing, as kind of one of your fortes. What do you think bowling as a sport needs to do to kind of get back into that sport station spotlight, where we can start seeing stuff being televised on Sportsnet or TSN or whatever it may be?
I think the image of bowling is skewed a lot. The image of bowling is like the Homer Simpsons of the world and whatnot. I think that's it's quite skewed to what it actually is. It's not recognized as a sport. Maybe getting in the Olympics, even if it's just 10-pin, would be a start. I think changing the image of bowling, being professionals, acting like professionals, looking like professionals. I honestly think the shirts is a huge part of that. That's why I started in the first place, because people need to look more professional and act more professional, and they do if they have their awesome shirt and their name on the back. Having more money involved in the tournaments helps. So some of those things can really help. Hopefully that answered your question.
Well, even if it doesn't, I'll go one step further. So obviously, the big things like finding more sponsorships, finding an in with one of the sports networks, cracking the decoder ring of why is it that they don't already put us on TV. Those are all big things. Are there some smaller, more concrete things that you think either WCBT or 5-Pin Universe in general can do where maybe they need some help from the community? Like, there's lots of stuff that you're good at. Is there something concrete where you would look for some help from the rest of the bowling community, that somebody out there can maybe do that thing and would help you take a big step forward to reach your longer term goals?
I mean, enhanced video production, but that comes with equipment too. So that's kind of hand in hand, and I think we're doing a good job of that right now. Honestly, my challenge sometimes, obviously, sponsors is a big thing. If I have time to ask, then I can probably have a lot more success, and that's where my challenges are, is having time to ask. But
yeah, that's one of the classics, right? That most people who fail at fundraising just underestimate how important it is just to ask people.
Yeah, and people fail at that all the time. You put a Facebook post out there, you're getting 1% of reach, or you might get 1% of the people actually acting on it. You have to ask people. You have to physically go up to everybody and ask them. And it works. It really does. Even if it's just a small donation and whatnot. And even it's showed with some of the stuff that we're coming in this weekend. But I don't want, and I don't want to sound negative here, I don't want everybody representing this brand either. We're a little bit protective of the brand, and I don't want anybody going and representing the brand, because I feel we have certain standards that we need to follow, and professional ways to ask and things like that. So it's a fine line of me putting it out there and getting all this help, but it's also, and obviously I probably need to delegate a little bit more too, but
Typical.
it's a challenge of who do I want representing my brand as well.
It is, I'll expand on that a touch before I ask my next question, but it does tend to be the same group of us on the tour committee or board that are putting our hands out to the same groups. Like AFA is the company I work for. Schwartz is a customer of mine, but he's also sponsoring other things within bowling. So we're asking the same people. We just need that breakthrough person to say, oh, you know what, my company might be interested in that, to help us expand further. So that was a good answer, Mark. I noticed the background of Schultz's live stream there. He had a really cool Rose Bowl, I'm guessing, nod shirt. My question for you is, who has one of your favorite designs for a shirt? Can you remember which one is your favorite?
Oh,
I should have prepped you for this earlier.
Yeah. Well, right now, I might be biased, but I like the Bombers shirts.
Yeah.
I like the design. I just like the way it pops. And I could tell I like a design when I use it for other people. I'll just change out the colors and whatnot. So right now, I think that's one of my favorite ones. I mean, I really enjoy doing some of the novelty type ones and seeing how happy the kids are when they get them and things like that. I do like that too. And even the new people, like I just did an order for a lady from Calgary, and Maria Wood referred me in, and then they just kind of went through the process, and I was like, holy cow, that's so awesome. And just I just really like seeing that kind of stuff. Just sometimes it's stressful with timelines and stuff, but I like seeing the happy people too. So
You do a good job at it.
thank you.
Shift to you, Mark, personally, from a bowling side of things. How are things looking for you on the lanes this weekend? You feeling good? You're playing tomorrow afternoon, the first shift. How's the game at?
The game's going really good. After Calgary, I needed to reevaluate my mental approach to the game. I got really frustrated, and I was having trouble finding a line there. But I played Masters. I played really well. That's the best I played in Masters in a long time. Be in the top 5 after playing in Bonnie Doon and Sherwood Park. I'm pretty happy about that. A couple, a 2250 and a 2200. My game's doing really well. Going into this weekend, I have a different type of goal in mind. I don't have a score goal in mind. Obviously, I want to make the cut and I want to win and whatever else. But I have a process now in my brain that I need to follow, and that's my goal, is to follow my process. My process is patience is one of the big things that I tell myself. I've learned a lot from golf. Having patience is the biggest thing. There's going to be a bogey, and there's going to be a head pin, and there's going to be a frame where I count 10. It's just having patience, because I've had the ability to start throwing bigger games now, and just following my process. So my goals this weekend is just to follow my process throughout the whole time. And if I do follow my process, I think I have the ability and the confidence now that I can play well. That answers it.
The process just may include Voltaren and Advil.
Yeah, a little bit of that too.
And let's of course ask the technical component question. What's the shoes, the balls, and what's the line you're looking to play?
I use Dexter shoes. I play just to the left of the center arrow, so a little bit left to right. I do have the right to left option in the bag if needed, but I don't play that because I miss a little bit more than I would like. I went from like Schultz was saying, I've been doing a lot of watching and seeing who's playing well and who's playing well with what. I've seen guys playing with Starlines, so I attempted Starlines. It just doesn't work for me. So I can't get the grip on the ball. It just doesn't work for me. So I used to play with the Utopia urethane balls a long time ago, and I actually played really well with them, and I kind of forgot about it. So those balls have been hitting really hard, and I've been getting good results with that ball. And the last month or two, I've been playing with that, and I've been playing really good with it. So I think it's a good change to it. So yeah, Utopia balls and Dexter shoes.
Mark, you talked about converging towards following a process and really committing yourself to that. I'm curious how you, what you can tell us about how you figured out the process that you're committing to paying attention to now.
Well, it was kind of like obviously watching golf and like try not to get so upset at things when you're in the second or third frame or whenever it may be. That helped me with the process. But Jen's dad, Gil, actually said to me, he's like, "Are you doing your pre-shot routine?" And I thought to myself, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just grabbing the ball, throwing a wipe on it with my towel and going up and bowling. And that's not what I used to do. And that is the first step in my process, is doing my pre-shot routine, wiping the ball 3 times, just doing the same thing every time, picking it up the same way, standing the same way, waiting for people instead of trying to be the first guy out there all the time. That's part of the process. And I tell myself, be patient and have patience. So that's a huge part for me, is having patience. That's all I'm telling myself right now. I know what I need to do physically now. I figured that part out of my game. It's all just, I have the confidence to just be patient. It'll come.
Do you still flip the towel?
Yep.
Okay.
I do now.
Now that you remember to do it.
It's just a muscle memory thing. I'm really good at muscle memory type things. And if I just keep my routines, then I'll be okay. And I just lost my routines.
Just want to put you on the spot for one final question.
Sure.
Cut projection. What do you think it's going to be?
I think it's a little bit higher. I think there's a little higher quality playing this year. I think it'll probably be about 22-15, something in that nature.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Johnson. That was great, great insight. I just want to thank all our media and everybody that's helped us out with this press conference. And good luck to everybody that's competing. And media, I hope you guys are going to be watching all weekend.
Well, thanks, guys. I might play. Thanks, Gary, but just don't worry about it. Nobody wants to worry about me. I'm just a commentator.
I said good luck.
Yeah, I'll be watching. Thanks.
I am definitely not playing, but I shall harass people for memberships and merch.
Jeff, JB,
yes,
you guys coming to play? What shift are you guys playing?
I'm going to take the shift of watching.
I'll see if I can sneak 5 games in Friday afternoon.
Yeah, you're going to play long? Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, guys, for taking the time to do this, and we hope everybody enjoyed.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.